the hardest clip I had to commentate was Tetris Battle Royale. My
Oh,
girlfriend's brother submitted a clip of him winning a game of Tetris Royale. I'm like, how do I break this down? Like, what
where do
is
you start
even
with? Yeah.
happening? What the hell is happening right here? And so it really helped me in commentate other games because I was able to be like, okay, well, how can I explain what is happening right now in the best way possible?
How you feeling? You said you're feeling a little ill?
Yeah, maybe I got the coronavirus. I don't know. We'll have to see if I die in the next couple days. But if I
Oh.
do, you'll be the last person who I guess get some content out of me. I don't know.
Where are you from? If you don't mind me asking, is that classified info?
No. I live in Canada.
Oh, okay, okay.
Pretty much the most southern tip in Windsor, which is like right across the street from Detroit.
Oh, okay.
So
I met a lot of really cool Canadian people like this last year just through the internet, and it made me determined to move to Canada eventually in my life. I'm from North Dakota, so I'm right on the northern tip of America. So
yeah. Well, there's really only two spots that you really want to go to, either the West Coast or the East Coast. You don't want to go to the middle.
yeah.
It's just flat, it's boring, there's no one there. So you either want to go to like Vancouver or Toronto, and then there's nothing in between.
I visited Vancouver a couple times in the last year, so it's a really cool city. My brother lives
Yeah.
right on the border of Washington, so he's like an
Yeah.
hour away from Vancouver, and that's where all like the outbreaks are in the U.S. Pretty much. I think there's like 15 cases of coronavirus or something in Seattle, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I think that's quite a bit.
Jeez.
And he said his roommate is super sick right now, so I'm hoping that my brother doesn't get coronavirus. He's just chilling up there, but.
Maybe screw Valorant and let's just have a coronavirus podcast where we just talk about outbreaks.
I think that do you know who Devin Nash is?
Yeah.
Like he does all of his marketing stuff, and I think he actually did a coronavirus talk recently. I'm just like, man, that's a little out of the blue for him, but like, yeah,
He
like,
did, but I don't think it was on his channel. It was on some other dude's channel.
oh, okay,
And they were just talking primarily about like how, and this even relates to Valorant, how they're canceling events like left and right due to their fear of the coronavirus, and they canceled that like streamer and influencer playthrough, which I think is still happening this Wednesday.
they're doing it online,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, but they're doing it online this time.
But like, that's cool that they're still trying to like do it and stuff, and they're still getting all the streamers and their codes and everything. I'm really intrigued for what they're gonna do. Do you have any idea what they have planned or?
Well, let's try to look at it logically then. In this case, let's say they want Shroud to play this game this weekend, right? So they probably give him a download link to a closed beta, and he's either A, going to be allowed to stream it, or B, he's going to have to play with like a group of other streamers, and they'll probably be given a date where they can release content and be first to release content. But it's really going to be either or. Either they're going to be allowed to stream it, or they're not going to be able to really allowed to release content until a certain day, and they'll have to sign something that says that they agree to that.
Yeah, like an NDA or something.
Yeah.
Just through all the streamers. That'll be interesting if they do like a tournament, because that's kind of what I was expecting them to do, like a big tournament with all the players and stuff, and like invite everybody out. I thought that would have been really interesting and do like get like commentary and like hype everybody up.
Yeah.
And then do something like they did with Runeterra, where they dropped it like pretty much afterwards, right? So I think there was the
I
League
mean,
10-year anniversary where they just released Runeterra right afterwards, right?
yeah. I mean, they also, I think it's also very similar to how they handle TFT, and all the tournaments for TFT have been very like just streamer and influencer focused. Which like they'll do a tournament, it'll have money, but the people like kind of suck at TFT. Like they're all just like
Yeah.
influencers who play the game, right?
So as a shoutcaster, then I'm assuming you keep up with a lot of different esports. It looked like on your banner that you made, I saw specifically listed Legends of Runeterra, League of Legends, and CS:GO, I think. Um,
No, it was so here's kind of like I guess I'll start with my background in casting. Um my first ever esports event, I was in business. I was in like a business degree, and I hated it. I hated the people that I was studying with. I didn't really like the environment, and I wanted to make a jump over. And this was around the time that I started playing League too. And I don't really remember the first time I watched the LCS or but once I started to get wrapped up into that space, like around season two, I was like, holy crap, this looks like a sick job. Like this would be dope. Like to just shoutcast people playing games, and it just sounded so cool. So
Yeah.
I tried to find out where, like, my first dip into the esports space was this like event at the AMD headquarters in Ontario, and there was like a league 5v5 happening, and they just like this company wanted me to write an article about it, so I did. But there was like these dudes shoutcasting, and after I was like, holy crap, like how do I get involved? Like how do I shoutcast? So then really from there I started casting. Like I just, obviously just the rest is kind of history, and I started casting league. Da da da. I've been doing it for 4 years now. But here and there, I've been kind of dabbling with other games. Like recently, this past fall, I did some Rocket League. I've casted CS:GO like a little bit here and there. I've kind of just dabbled around. But with the 10-year anniversary being announced, I was like, crap, I think I really just need to double down on anything Riot Games.
Yeah.
So my banner is just Runeterra, TFT, League, and Valorant. I don't think I'll ever probably end up commentating. Like, I'll probably like, if I'm being obviously optimistic, but I'll probably end up commentating one of the games, but obviously not all four. But if I commentate all four, I'm much more easily hireable by Riot. If you think
Yeah,
about it
because you kind of
logically,
become
right?
like a Riot like poster boy, like kind of like free.
Pretty much,
Almost,
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
that would be like really cool. So have you attempted to commentate anything for like Runeterra or anything or TFT? I feel like that would.
Yeah.
I just feel like the
Sorry, go ahead.
commentary between like a game like Runeterra versus a game like Valorant. I wouldn't say it's harder, but I would say that it's like different, like very different in those regards.
I have so okay. So another thing is that I'm also a teacher currently. Like I'm a professor
Oh, okay.
at a college that has an esports degree. So I teach broadcasting to like 60 students, and then they have 2 years where they go through like this thing, and then they get a diploma, which is also, if you think about it, insane to think about to have like an esports diploma. But anyways, that's besides the point. Some of my students really wanted to be the first ever Runeterra tournament. So the day of release, they hosted a Runeterra tournament, and I commentated it. So I technically have commentated
Oh, okay.
Runeterra, yeah. But it was like rough because like um obviously nobody really knows what all the cards do yet, and it's still very much a casting style hasn't really been developed for it. Obviously, you can mimic a lot from Magic and sorry, not TFT, Hearthstone, but still it can develop its own style, and we haven't really seen a lot of Runeterra tournaments, so we don't really know if there is a style yet to develop.
So
But anyways, I have, and for TFT, haven't really commentated much TFT, but when I'd play, if I was like in the final rounds, I would just commentate my team fight comp. I feel like that's like I've watched a few TFT tournaments be commentated, and they take like a very Hearthstone approach. Whereas I actually think that you can just have analysis, but when it gets to like top four, top six, you can actually commentate the team fights if they're close, because it really is just team
yeah,
fights over and over and over and over again.
and that's like pretty hype too. Like the early game. So I used to watch a lot of StarCraft back in the day. I don't know if you came from StarCraft as well, but I always complained that there in every other game that I've seen, I've never seen people do the same sort of shoutcasting that you see from the StarCraft players. There used to be entire YouTube channels that were just invested on shoutcasting like professional matches because there were so many people like just on the ladder playing, and then they would upload the replay to like to just like this one website, and they just download it and they would like commentate over it. You'd have like this like 3 or 4 different shoutcasters commentating over the same game on like their channels, and it was really interesting. And I don't know if I've ever seen that on League. Are there League channels that do commentary like that or?
So obviously it's very difficult to execute. Like if let's think about it from the perspective of, do you know who Captain Flowers is?
No, I don't.
Okay, so Captain Flowers is a shoutcaster for Riot. He currently commentates the NA division for them, and he's from Canada. How he got his start is obviously he commentated amateur League of Legends in his, I guess, like area. Because I'm sure everyone has like little pockets of amateurism where people just like the game, right? Now, Captain Flowers, how he got started was he commentated like every week at 3 in the morning. He commentated um the Chinese circuit for League. Like he would just open up the stream and he would commentate it. But he'd have to mute it because there's other casters obviously commentating over it.
Yeah, so you
Who
couldn't
wants
even do the gameplay.
Yeah, so who would want to sit through that? Who wants to sit through, like, people kind of, I guess, feel almost like they need the sound of the game. And it's definitely the case for CS. Imagine casting a game of CS
And you can't hear
and
it.
there's no AK, there's no M4, there's no op. Like, you would feel a lot less connected to the game, right? Um so there is stuff like that, to answer your question, but it's more often than not very prominent because Riot doesn't release replays for professional matches. If they
Yeah,
did, I actually feel like you'd see a lot more of it because people would want to shoot their shot, right?
yeah.
But you kind of need the sound, and really you need the sound for any esport. Like, people just like those audio cues. They makes them feel like they're watching the actual game, right? So
Yeah. That's really interesting though that there are like people who've tried it, and I really respect the grind of somebody like him though. Where I love when you're barred by like things like that, where it's like, okay, well I can't get the sound for the game, and you're like, well I'm not gonna let that stop me, you know. That's what I've always said about for Valorant too. Like the odds that like either of us will probably get into the like closed beta if there is one is probably pretty low, but like just the idea of like if we let that stop us, then like that's just like the end, or we could like try to figure out how to work around it. I really respect like the grind in that regard.
yeah, and a lot of it also has to do with, like, obviously there's two. Okay, so obviously you saw the tweets that I made, and I added like a whole bunch of people, and obviously for some people it can be seen as a very toxic a toxic approach to trying to get noticed.
I think it's
But
clever, but yeah.
it's either you do something or you do nothing. So I'd rather do something than do nothing, right?
Yeah.
And if somebody says, "Oh, this sucks," well, that's one extra view that I got that I wouldn't have got if you didn't say it sucks. So I'll take the
Yeah.
haters. I'll take the people mad at me or whatever. No one got mad. In fact, it was very positive. But I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, let's flip it and say that what if people did get mad, right?
Well, and beyond that, those people who are getting mad and they're still replying, each engagement is going to be boosting your post. So it's just like,
Exactly.
when
Exactly.
when I was in school, so I went to college like twice actually, two different schools, and I just kind of like determined that it wasn't the thing for me. But the very first time that I was there, I had a YouTube channel initially where the videos that I made weren't even that amazing. I was like fresh out of high school and I was like still getting into content creation. But I remember I had a social media professor that I went to him and I was like, hey, like this is my channel. I think that I'm doing okay, but like how can I do better? And what he told me is that, hey, there's a lot of people who are working on these games who like they might be in sound design, they might be in like scared like character design or something like that. They're all over the place and they don't get nearly as much attention as all these influencers and stuff like that. So I noticed you started like at some like the communications people and you're like, hey, like I did this. Do you think it's pretty cool? And like they noticed it and they're like, yeah, this is pretty cool. And it's just like that attention is something that you can get, and it's also like I think building those connections is like completely worth it, you know? Like meeting with those people because they're really cool people and they're like actually like I don't know, I just feel like networking in that way is a lot more intelligent than like just throwing your shot at like Dr. Disrespect every time he does anything, you know?
Yeah.
Uh,
I also think there's something to be said that, like, the reason, like, my first tweet where I added some of the people from the development side or from the communication side, I did so because some of them were actually in the game, like
yeah.
in the actual. So I was like, listen, I don't care if Brandon Beck sees my tweet about, like, if he does, it's freaking amazing, but I'm not gonna shoot for the stars in that regard. The feedback that I've gotten from commentary, especially when I was starting out, especially in the amateur scene, is people just love being commentated. People love their content being kind of professionalized. And I was like, listen, like, I'm pretty sure some of these developers at one point or another were like, I want to be a pro player, and then they never made it, right? So they became
Yeah.
a content creator, they became a developer, they became a communication specialist, one or the other. And then to see their content commentated on like an esports professional level, they're like, wow, that makes me feel hype, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the purpose of why, if you target the low hanging fruit, like, I mean, I call it low hanging fruit, but it really is because you're hitting up people that have been working on the game, putting in blood, sweat, and tears, and you're kind of tipping your hat to them, right?
Yeah, well, as you should be. Like, you should be respecting these people who are like they're putting it. Like, these are the people who made the game. Like, I think that's like
Mm.
really interesting. Um, And what I love about the developers for this game too, I don't know if you've noticed this as well, but I haven't noticed this in like a lot of other communities. They're like very active in the community. Like they're involved in the discords and stuff. They talk. If you do like the AMAs, they like goof around. Somebody like Chris Tom, who's like he's on the communications team, right? He's very like personable, just on his like if you talk to him, he doesn't feel like a brand. He feels like a person, you know. And I really
Yeah.
love that. The way that we like you can interact with them as an audience and be able to like really connect with them in that way.
Yeah. I mean, I also have to say that like I think Riot as a whole does that in a really good way. Like if have you seen the League of Legends documentary on Netflix?
I haven't actually. I can look that up.
I think you should go watch it because it really tells you the history of like how they became um a a consumer first company where they just care about their fans and the people that play the game. Like they care more about that than they care about anything else. And it really shows in the way that they actually handle developing their games, marketing it, trying to give their fans more so that they stick around for longer and really also just be happy to be playing the game, right?
Yeah.
Like I think a good example of how not to take care of your fans is obviously Blizzard, and we could talk about that probably for hours. But like, I love Blizzard because of the lore, but I hate Blizzard because of the way that they handle everything.
That's literally what I was
Uh,
about to say. Like, I think that Blizzard is a very good example of a company, or like, I feel like Riot is what Blizzard kind of wanted to be for like a while, at least at this point in time. But I think we'll have to wait and see how these games turn out and everything. Obviously, when you're running a company like Blizzard who has so many different games, I feel like it's got to be a little bit more difficult to maintain. That's like
yeah,
people who compare Twitch and YouTube, right? And they'll say like YouTube. I had gotten a conversation about this today, so I guess that's why it's like fresh on my mind. But they're like YouTube is just like way less managed than Twitch, and I'm like YouTube is also like 20 times the size of Twitch. Like it's got to be difficult in
yeah,
that regard. But
yeah. I mean, also there's something to be said about Facebook and how they're a player in the game as well. But yeah, the comparison doesn't really add up. And now, at least for in the case of Valorant, like Riot is pretty much saying we're here to party, we're here to play games, we're here to actually make a mark on the industry. But I guess my only question, if I were to speak with like the CEO, the president of Riot, I think my question would be like, why did it take so long? Like I understand you probably wanted it to be perfect, but like why did it take you so long to release a shooter? Why did it take you so long? Like card games are probably easier to develop because there's probably not much coding to go into the actual gameplay of it, but actually just the cards that need to be coded. But FPS probably yeah, it takes time. But like, why did it take so long? Do you just not have the money? Like you guys have been caking since like season 2, season 3, right? Like I don't know.
it feels like maybe they just wanted to make sure that they had like League of Legends locked down and like ready. Like I don't know exactly about like the logistics of the business. Like I obviously just kind of observe as like a fan, but uh, if they move in too early, right, it feels like there could be an issue for the company with League. Like if League started to fall apart, where it feels like League is in a very solid place right now, where it's just going to be around for like at least a couple more years, even if they don't like touch it very much, you know. But that,
Yeah.
that might be my opinion. I was wondering, so when you started to get into commentary and stuff, would you consider yourself like a pretty extroverted person, or like, do you think that commentary really plays into your personality type like that, or?
I think so. Funny enough, as the years have gone by and as I've kind of gotten older, I've become a lot less extroverted. Not because like I don't like people, but because I just feel like I don't really want to approach that many people anymore. But a lot of my students would probably say that I am very personable and outgoing. I mean, like I have to be as a teacher. Like I have to lecture for hours, and then I have to, make sure that they understand. But I can't do so kind of closed off. Like I have to be very open to them, right?
Yeah.
Um, but as a shoutcaster as well, if I it actually kind of varies depending on who I'm casting with. No matter what, I'll try to be as engaging as possible. But actually, very recently, like I commentated a league game, and like I just couldn't connect with the caster, and I still try to be as open as possible. But it's just difficult when it's a one-way street, right? But I think overall, it does kind of play into my personality, and my favorite casters that I've casted with are the people that are the most extroverted,
Yeah.
I would say.
Do you have like one caster in specific that you really look up to, or?
Look up to. That's very interesting. I think more so I just have casters that I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
I think Captain Flowers, as I mentioned it before, is somebody that I don't I kind of look up to because he came into the league space and he pretty much made his mark on play by play almost immediately. Like I would argue that he's one of the best play by plays in esports, bar none. Um, I don't like I watch CS, like I watch Rocket League, like I watch a lot of different a lot of people say in the league space that Doa is kind of like one of the goats or one of the greatest, but I don't really think he made that mark for me as much. I didn't really watch a lot of Korean League of Legends, so like I
Yeah.
can't really say. Um, but yeah, I think Captain Flowers because he came in and he redefined the standard for play by play, and he's just so clear. I think that's what I admire about him the most. Not really his work ethic, not really how hard he grinded, but how clear his commentary is. Like it's so crispy. Like you understand everything that's happening.
It feels like that's
And
got to come from like years of practice too, right?
for
Like,
sure, for sure. And and it's something that I strive in my commentary to try to be as clear as possible. Like the best compliment that I can get is when someone says, "Oh, like you made me understand, and I didn't really think that I would, or like I didn't really feel like I would." And I was like, "Cool, that's what I wanted." I don't care if someone says, "Oh, you're great," or "You're PogChamp," or whatever. Like I don't really care about that.
yeah.
If someone says, "Hey, you really made me understand," then I'm like, damn, that made me feel good, you know?
That's so it's just in terms of like giving compliments and stuff. I think that a lot of people don't realize if they haven't really looked into any sort of communications as well. Providing like very specific things of like why somebody is good when you compliment them is like very helpful in that.
Yeah.
So when people are like, "Oh, your content's really great," it's like, "Thank you, I appreciate it," but like I don't really know why. You know, it's
Yeah.
I'm glad that it like touched you, but
Yeah.
but then like beyond that, you said uh saying that you're very clear is like a really high tier compliment for you. And I love that. I've heard the quote, and I don't know if you've heard this as well. The measure of how well somebody knows something is how easily they can explain it to somebody who's really foreign to it, right? And I love that for like casters, where like if you're coming into League of Legends and you don't know anything about League of Legends, does this caster or commentator make you feel like you understand the game?
Yeah.
And I never really put that in like the hands of the commentator actually until you said that, but like that very much is their job to explain it to somebody who maybe isn't following everything going on.
Yeah. Yeah. There's two things. So I casted the league for like 4 years, and then I took like a year break because I thought I wasn't gonna make it. I realized, like looking back now that I'm like really diving back into it and taking it incredibly seriously. I'm taking it way seriously than I ever did in the 4 years that I commentated, even though I have a full-time job. Like
Yeah.
it's I'm taking it a lot more seriously now. But before I don't really feel like I hustled as hard. But what has really changed the way I commentate now is two things. One, I started TikTok. I started a TikTok in December,
I actually
and
love that. Yeah. Keep going.
and what I would do is I would just commentate random clips, and I would just have fun with it. And I also opened up like a Google form, and people can submit their clips, and I can commentate them. So it just kind of created like this insane thing, and uh, it really helped me commentate random things, like and kind of get good at contextualizing like what is it that is happening in this most random clip. The hardest clip I had to commentate was Tetris Battle Royale. My girlfriend's brother submitted a clip of him winning a game of Tetris Royale. I'm like, how do I break this down? Like, what
Where do you
is even
start?
happening?
Yeah.
What the hell is happening right here? And so it really helped me in commentate other games because I was able to be like, okay, well, how can I explain what is happening right now in the best way possible, right? The second thing that has helped me become a better commentator is actually teaching. I have to explain to people and hope that they understand and try to expand their learning, which means how can I also do that in my commentary? And to do that every single week and kind of a lot of the way I teach is I prepare a lesson, but I obviously am thinking a lot of the time off the dome and kind of just like trying to push that information
Yeah.
out. So I have to make sure that I try to get them to understand the best way that I can, and it's really helped me be a better commentator. Like, and I didn't think that it would. I never like thought like, oh yeah, I'm gonna become a professor because I want my commentary to get better. It just kind of fell into place.
I'm assuming you like your teaching job. Like you got into it. Um, Since I've been doing these presentations, I don't know if you know like a little bit of background on me, but I've been doing like these Valorant presentations for like the last 2 months. I literally prepare a PowerPoint and I just go through the PowerPoint on stream, like talking about like a character or something. And since doing this, I've realized how hard it actually is to teach. Like for me to go through and make it like actually interesting. And I'm like preparing a PowerPoint every single day. I'm like sweating at like 4 a.m. trying to put together a PowerPoint. Like
Yeah.
it's a lot of work, honestly.
Yeah, and considering I'm a full-time professor, so
Yeah.
I have to teach like I have to cover like what 3 different courses at one given time. So I'm preparing 3 different lesson plans, and it can get definitely overwhelming. So I try to, even actually in the way that I develop like a whole course, or like I plan out the whole semester,
Yeah.
I try to create pockets where I get a break from each class. I mean, this is getting into like actually teaching, but I try to create pockets where I have a break in one class, and then I can just, okay, I only have to worry about this one class this week, and then it alternates, and I try to split the workload that way.
So that's how you balance like your teaching and like commentating then, or
Well, yeah, I mean, commentating has been kind of like a recent resurgence. Like I kind of decided in the 2020 year that I was going to make the deepest run that I would ever make for commentary, but it's pretty much for me it's an after hours type thing. It doesn't really relate to how I work with teaching.
oh, it doesn't interfere with it at all. Um,
Yeah.
so you said that your students had their Runeterra tournament too. So how does that relate to what you teach? What exactly do you teach again?
So, it's an esports diploma in Windsor, and there's my focus. There's a few professors on deck for the program, but what I focus on is broadcasting. So I teach them how to stream. I pretty much have divvied up like a course into like 4 segments, and like, sorry, 4 courses across 2 years for broadcasting, and it just really goes through semester one. They learn about observing and like how to pretty much run a stream at the most basic level. Semester two, they do like story building and pre games and post games. Third semester, they do Photoshop and video editing, and then fourth semester, they try to grow a stream. So it's kind of just like all 4 components into 2 years pretty much, and they just get different stabs at it. But my favorite my favorite lesson is really only in the first semester, because it's the less like I do a whole week on commentary.
Yeah.
And that's like the one thing that I'm the most comfortable with obviously talking about.
That's cool that
um
you start with that though, because you come on strong. You're like, this guy's like a genius, and then you get into
yeah.
like a net code or something like that. I don't know if you know anything about that, but like,
Yeah.
this is how you set up OBS settings. That's my worst one. I have no idea how to do settings or tech or anything.
Yeah. I was really fortunate to I just, and this is like a part of the grind. Like I just really wanted to bring in like guest speakers for my students, and I managed to get 2 high-profile guest speakers. I got Riot Dash, who is like the host of the NALCS.
Yeah, I've heard that.
He's usually like and I got Semler, who is like a big if you don't know, big CS:GO commentator. Used to be on the Overwatch League, and then he moved back to CS:GO once obviously they like kind of shifted. But like, even though like the commentator guest speakers were really for them, it really was one of the reasons what pushed me into deciding to get back into commentary as well in 2020. Seeing like professionals that I don't really look up to them, but have like potentially working alongside them in the future, and like hearing what they have to say.
Yeah.
It just made me think that it was very doable to get back into the space and really just grind it out and see how far I could get.
I think it's really cool that you can come into the space too as an educator for like somebody who like talks about broadcasting and everything. Because you approaching somebody and being like, hey, you can have like a serious impact on like these students in the class who are really like they look up to your like type of stuff. I feels like there will be a lot of people who would be very interested in that. People who maybe grew up trying to go pro in a game, or like trying to do streaming and being discouraged, to now have it be like relatively mainstream for people to like
Yeah.
want to do this and be like praised like, hey, you can do this. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And not everyone in the program, full disclosure, like wants to be a commentator or wants to be a broadcaster. Like some people may want to, I don't know, be a analyst or a coach or a nutritionist for an esports team, or own a team, or run one specific segment of a team, like a CS:GO team or Overwatch team. Like there's so many different facets, and like it definitely is just The purpose of my teaching is to like open their eyes to it, but not necessarily convince them to take a career in it. Because obviously, not everyone's gonna get a career in commentary. Not everyone's gonna get a career in coaching. There's only so
Yeah.
many jobs, but at least with Valorant, there's gonna be more jobs that open up for sure too.
Do you have any plans for Valorant after release? Are you're gonna keep doing commentary? You're gonna be focusing primarily on Valorant, or are you gonna be switching like between League and stuff? Or
Um, League is the game that I know like the most. It's the game that I'm most comfortable with, obviously. Um, I am gonna make the deepest run that I possibly can with Valorant. I think I've already made like insane legway in a short amount of time that I guess I've to my friends I've been calling it the Valorant campaign, where any content that comes out I just commentate it and I throw it out there and I grind it out as much as I can. And in the short time that I've started this campaign, it's been very good. I'm not gonna like sugarcoat it. It's been very, very good. So I don't see no reason why I shouldn't continue it.
yeah,
And if Riot says, "Hey, this guy's actually kind of dope. Let's have this guy on the broadcast," I'm not gonna say no.
obviously you don't turn
Um,
that down.
for sure, for sure. So yeah, if it happens, it happens. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But moving into 2020 and definitely 2021, I'm gonna be branding myself as like a Riot Games caster, not specifically a Valorant caster. But I just want to be a jack of all trades. So Riot's like, well,
Yeah.
shit, we can put this guy anywhere. Sorry, excuse if I'm swearing, but
Oh, you're
we can
no,
put this
go for it.
guy.
Yeah.
We can put this guy anywhere, and we'll be okay, right?
That's like really cool. To like, I love the not centering down on one thing. Like maybe you do in the future too, but like as at least starting out, you don't know what's necessarily gonna pop off, you know. And maybe like it
No,
turns out that there's an opening somewhere else, and they're like, hey, this is the guy that we want for it, you know.
yeah, flexibility is key. Like, there's a lot of casters that dream of casting like one specific game, but if they only knew that there was like, the problem is that in the casting space, you don't really know where there's a demand because it's not like jobs are really out there, or like Riot or Blizzard or Supercell or like any developer doesn't really make like a public job posting for a caster. Like, they're not like, "Oh, we're looking for a caster." It's usually internal, and it's usually somebody that they already know, or it's usually like kind of through the inner workings of esports to the back streets. So people already kind of get the job before
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So, but what I mean to say is, like, let's say you focus on Siege, you focus on casting Siege. What you don't know, because there's so much back streets, so there's so many back streets in esports, is that there probably is an insane demand for a PUBG caster, but they have no clue. They have no idea because PUBG's not asking for it, right? Or like
Yeah.
they don't know where to find that information. So, yes, if you want to cast League, go for it, but try to keep your eyes open for sure, and be open to casting anything, because you never know what door might open.
I think a lot of people are really like dead set on one thing too, and they don't like to be flexible about it. Like it, opportunities are opportunities, you know. Like I wanted to be a full time streamer, but like if something else came up in esports, I would totally be down for it. Just because like my goal is just to be happy, you know. And if I could find happiness like doing anything in esports, then like yeah, sure, like I'd be okay with it. I wanted to talk about how undersaturated Valorant is right now too. After you brought that up, like you've reached a lot of success just posting the stuff in the or like on Twitter, right? Or mostly on Twitter.
Yeah.
Do you do it on YouTube as well, or?
I I tried to post in the Discord, but that place is a disaster. Like,
Yep.
I would post like I would post it once and then immediately it would get flooded. Like, some people would see it, but definitely not the traction that like
Yeah.
obviously the Twitter's got. My strategy for getting clips out there is obviously just on Twitter, and a little bit of Reddit. Reddit is a decent place to put stuff.
Yeah.
But my strategy is based off of something I did during one of the World Championships for League. I sat at my computer. I had the stream open on one screen, and on the other screen I had Photoshop open, and I was just jamming out memes. I was just a factory of memes, just watching the broadcast and just trying to any reference they made, I'd make it. And then anyone that's relevant on Twitter, I would respond with my meme on their tweet, and I would try to be the first person. And that's really like the way that, like, when I tweet it just by myself, yeah, it's gonna get a little bit of leg weight. But the biggest tweet was actually underneath Slasher's tweet. And Slasher tweeted about that Phoenix clip, and then I posted the Phoenix clip underneath him.
Yeah.
And 25K views later, it like blew up, and then some Brazilian caster from League retweeted it, or like I don't know how he did it, but he like took my video, but my video still had my name on it. I don't really know how to explain it, and that got 40K views, and it's just like just the strategy of like what I guess consider like guerrilla marketing, where you're just taking away someone's sunshine, I guess, in a way, is what I did. But again, you were saying about the undersaturation of Valorant, and I think quickly to comment on it before I let you hop in, it's just people are too afraid to commit. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
there's a lot of backlash. I'm sure when you talked with Noted that it was just like people are like hating on him because it's like, oh, why would you commit to something that doesn't exist yet? Oh my god, blah blah blah. Like, people are just like so afraid to commit into it.
Yeah. Well, I got a lot of hate when I first started too. Because I published 20 videos. I think I did even more than that. I might have done like 35 videos before the name of the game was even announced. Like, and people were like, "Wow, you need to stop." Like, you're uploading videos and stuff like that. And it wasn't just like all like clickbait, the same video over and over and over again. I try to like take really in-depth topics and like compare it to like other like FPS games, like the mechanics that would be in those games that could be present in Valorant on a release and stuff. I got a lot of hate, and I was just like, at least I'm doing something, dude. Like, I'm just going all in because I believe in it, you know, and I really like stuff like that. But you said about posting that below Slash's tweet. I did the exact same thing actually with an infographic. So I spent like all night making these infographics for every single character. And I put like all their abilities and stuff on it, and like I even like got logos for the abilities. And then when they posted that Phoenix clip, I responded to the Phoenix clip with my infographic, and again I got like it didn't blow up to nearly the size as yours did, but I got like 200 favorites, which is pretty high for anything that I post. You know, like so
it's a good strategy.
It works.
It's a good strategy, and like one way is obviously you could just add a bunch of people, and the other way is really you go on, you commandeer someone's clout, and really. It's a strategy that works. Is currently the only Instagram strategy. Instagram is very saturated and it's difficult to get into. The only way to get into Instagram right now, it's very late in the game, very very late in the game. But if you wanted to get in right now, is what you do is you comment. You're constantly commenting on the content, like accounts that you want the followers of. So if there's like a Valorant Instagram that is like popping off, you're gonna need a comment on every single post the moment it's up, and that'll give you that's like the only way to get traction on Instagram right now. But in Twitter, it still works the same way, commenting on other people, and I mean we're examples of it for sure.
Yeah. Something that I did when I first started out too, and like this is a little frowned upon in like some regards, because like people have like this weird possession thing with the follows. Like if you follow somebody, they feel like very possessive about like you following them. It's like if you unfollow them, then they feel like you are taking something away from them, and like it's like, dude, I didn't give you my follow. Like I liked your content, and then like I didn't like it maybe in the future, you know. But I didn't follow people and unfollow them. What I did was I followed like one person, and if I clicked with a streamer, I would go through their following and like, or whoever follows them, and I would follow those people as well. And like one of the reasons specifically that I don't feel like guilty about this is because I made a lot of really good friends doing this. Like a lot of people who I'm still friends with today, I met just because like specifically I did this and I connected with people from their community. But like a lot of people are really scared to like go through and like, oh, my following numbers are gonna look like really gross and stuff. Like I don't know. It's just people are very possessive over follows. I don't know if you ever noticed that. Like,
well, I mean that's a whole nother beast. That's just social media in general. You know what I mean? It's the nature of the beast, and you have to play the game. You know, that's kind of the only way that I see it, right?
Yeah.
You have to do what you got. You got to do what you got to do. And if like you're saying, if someone's gonna be really salty about their social media, whatever, it's just the way it is. You know.
Yeah. Just to clarify too, if anybody like heard me that they're like he followed and unfollowed. No, I didn't like unfollow them. I followed them initially, and then I was just like, okay, we'll see their content. If it doesn't click with me, then like eventually I probably unfollow them. But like for the most part, I met a lot of really cool people doing that. You said that you started out or you didn't start your commentary on TVT or TFT, but you played a little bit of TFT. Are you excited for the new set? Are you gonna be looking forward to that or?
Yeah, the new set looks like really really insane. I think I was thinking about this the other day because me and my actually one of my really really close friends is also my mentor. He's the one that when I went to write an article about that like league event, he was the one commentating, and he became one of my closest friends.
Yeah.
We have this plan. Like, he really liked my idea of becoming a Riot Games caster, and what we decided to do is that we were going to once a week go on Twitch, and we were just gonna find somebody streaming League or Runeterra or TFT, and we would duo cast together.
Would you
And
tell me they were
obviously,
casting their game, or you just like do it like Ghost?
I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, our goal is to just commentate and get experience, because
yeah,
right
yeah.
now there's no spectate for TFT, there's no spectate for Runeterra. But I am really excited for the new set. It looks dope. I'm just really concerned that I think TFT will never be professional.
I don't think it will either, honestly.
And I think that Runeterra may also not ever be professional. And I say that because it just feels like they aren't really taking the time to really do anything with it. I know it's still kind of in development, and they're probably going to be releasing their next card set soon. Probably in the summer is when I expect that to come out, because it looks like they do quarter year releases where they'll release big content in like quarters of the year. So now, since we're in spring, the next time it'll be in the summer, or at least in the beginning of the summer. I don't know. I just feel like with Runeterra, like, we haven't seen anything yet, and with Valorant, I know that they're gonna go full steam ahead. If they don't, I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But I think with Runeterra, I just feel like I don't know. Something about it just makes me feel like it's not gonna be that big of an esport, or they're not really gonna do a whole lot. But I mean, if they pump in like $3 million, like, I can't not see people going to it.
Yeah. Well, with TFT particularly, I always felt like it was more of a casual game, and I actually I started out before Valorant. I was like, dude, I'm gonna be a TFT content creator, because that's always been my big thing. Where I just felt like I needed to like buckle down on a game and like just go all in on it and like create content for the game, do like all the talking, because I think people give up too early. Like, they try to do a game, they make like 10 videos or something, or they like stream it for like, a little bit, and then they like give up before they ever like actually build an audience. And
Yeah.
after a
Yeah.
while, it just felt like the same thing, like over and over. Like, the meta just turned into rush for the tier 5 units or whatever, and then like you kind of win. And that just got like really boring to me. Maybe I have like a bad idea of the game though. Maybe you have a little bit more experience with it, but
Right, like, the meta, the so-called meta for being a TFT content creator. I was sorry. There it is. There's the corona coming out. Um, the meta for being a TFT content creator is that your peak is when a new set's released, and and right before a new set is released, because all the stuff gets kind of teased.
yeah.
And your complete downside is when the set's already out, and then
Yeah.
you have to wait for the next set for your next content rush.
Well, like for the last 2
Um,
months, they just had nothing to talk about. Like, it's the same thing, right?
Yeah, all they had like little things, right? Like, they've been releasing things kind of like day by day, and right now, like, with Valorant, once the actual game comes out, there's still gonna be so much content to go over, and like different metas and strategies. But with TFT, it just gets really stale very quickly. Once the set's out, people find the meta, and then boom, it's done. You know, like, it's just meant for fun and just to play.
Yeah.
Um, and the content at that point is just having fun. And I guess really you can play like funky builds and stuff like that. Like, I used to have fun with like, especially with this set, like trying to make Malf fight a mage, and then he just uses it all twice and then just blows up people, or like having Vagar try to like oh my god, there's this one game where I had where this Vagar just like absolutely had an ult every 2 seconds, and he was just blowing people up, and I was
Yeah,
like,
just
how is
one-shots
this
everybody.
like? Yeah, he had like the like these items where just, I don't know, it just really worked in his favor. But I guess that's the really only content that you can do where you can just have fun with it. Um, yeah.
Yeah, especially when it's like a casual game. That's all that you really can do. I feel like you'd have to get really creative with it. I wanted to start doing like funny type TFT content too, or like I always had like an image of when Singe would run around and like poison everybody. I don't know why, but I heard like funny montage music, and there's definitely like a joke there when you follow the Singe around, he's just killing everybody. But
Yeah.
as far as Legends of Runeterra goes too, I think that it probably could be successful. It's so early on still. Like, maybe they could bring it back. It's not dead necessarily yet, but it feels like it's lost a lot of its hype. I mean, like, as will happen after the game's released. But I'd like to see
Yeah.
more stuff from it. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I played a little bit of it. I grinded out expeditions until I won my first one. And then I kind of was like, okay, I feel accomplished now. I feel good.
You've done everything.
Yeah, I feel I've won the game.
Dude, that was me when I hit Diamond on League. I hit Diamond like season 4, and then I didn't play for 3 seasons. I just stopped. I was like, whatever, like, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm a champion. I'm a beast. Which is actually I'm grinding League right now, and I'm, in my opinion, playing like the hardest role to grind. Maybe I'm just salty and I'm just really bad, but I've always hit plat, and then I just like stop playing the game because I'm like, okay, I'm plat. I'm not gold.
Yeah.
I'm better than most. But now it's like so hard to climb. Like I just, the
You're
games
playing
are so
support,
rough
right, too?
now. Yeah, it's brutal.
I
It
think
is
support can be
brutal.
so rough because you just like no matter what you're doing, if your team is not doing damage, you feel so useless. Like
Yeah.
what do we do? How do we win this?
Yeah, and whether like a lot of the tips that people gave me is like play like engaged champs and stuff like that. And like I definitely see it and it definitely helps. But if your top mid jungles collectively 0 and 15, like there's
Yeah.
not much a dumpstered lane is gonna help you with. Like even if your ADC 7 and 0, you still can't carry. You still can't 2v3, right? You still can't outperform, because I actually think that the game is insanely objective focused right now. With League, like if you don't get dragons, you start to lose the game really
Yeah.
hard.
Oh, absolutely.
Like if you don't get Rift Heralds, you start to lose the game. So right now, actually, jungle is like one of the most insane roles because um, you have to like really take control of the map.
It's so rough with the dragons and everything too. Like you said, if you you could have like 30 kills on a team, but if they get that Elder Drake or the whatever it's called, the soul, the dragon soul,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
just win. Like there's nothing you could really do about it. It's so nuts.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, there's very few games where like I want to see a statistic if Riot can. Hello, Riot, if you're listening, I would like the statistic. I want a statistic where win percentage of teams with Dragon Soul. I want to see like what if, or I want to see how many teams have lost with Dragon Soul, and I can guarantee you that number is probably below 20%.
yeah.
Like, there's no way people are losing with Dragon Soul. It's like impossible.
Do you remember when they published like the Rift statistics? Whoever got the Rift Herald, it was like a 75% win rate or something like that, which is nuts for a one-time objective. Like
Right now?
No, that was
Like,
a while ago when like Rift like first came out. But
yeah.
like it was just really crazy that they published that stat. I was just like, dude, why haven't I not been getting Rift more? Like,
Yeah.
um,
It's made me want to play jungle, but I feel like that role is so hard. The one thing I can't wrap my head around with jungle is clears. Like I just don't know. Like it's like jungle is the role where like, man, every other lane has it so easy. Your CS is in front of you. With jungle, you have to strategically take your CS. You have to figure out what is the most optimal pathing to get your CS, and then also gank your lanes. That is brutal.
yeah.
That means you have to make the decision in your head, a split-second decision, which I'm sure for challenger players is really easy. But you have to make a split-second decision and say, I need to gank this lane, so that means I need to path this rotation of creeps or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I think it's really interesting too when you take a game like League and you think of how do I carry in League as a specific role, and then you compare it to a game like Valorant at CS:GO, where carrying is a completely different thing, right? Because like mechanically, if you're a good shot, you could 1v5 people in a game like Valorant, but in a game like League, you can't do that. So it's gonna be interesting, like the comparison. Like, have you played FPS games a lot, or like?
So the only time, do you play a lot of CS:GO? I feel like
I
you do.
used to. So I have like 1,000 hours on CS:GO, and then I have like 1,000
Holy
hours on
crap,
PUBG. Yeah.
That's a lot of CS:GO. That was way more than me.
That was in like
I've got-
2014 though. Like it was
Yeah.
a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have currently 20 hours in CS:GO, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I only played during the R8 update, and that's it. If you're familiar with the R8 update, they released a revolver that was the most broken thing in the game. You could
Oh, okay. Yeah, that thing.
you could two shot from a body shot, which was it's insane. It's insane.
For like
And
a 600 damage or 600 gold die.
yeah, it was insane. And casual CS:GO at the time was just people running around with the R8, and I just really liked that. So I just ran around, had fun, and then once they nerfed it, I stopped playing.
Yeah.
Which was
Yeah.
the nerf took like a few days. Like it was fun. It was a fun time. Like I think CS:GO should release like a R8 mode where you only play with the R8, but it was honestly like the best. Like competitively, he was the worst CS:GO, but casually, he was the best CS:GO.
I started playing when the CZ was broken. I don't know why this has happened with like every single pistol where it just had this era where it was so busted. But the CZ used to be so incredibly strong. The damage output of it was like that of almost like an AK. Or like
Jeez.
maybe I'm exaggerating here, but like and then the accuracy of it was just like nuts. And it was only $500. So you would just buy this thing every single round. You would like main weapon CZ and you would just murder everybody. The same thing happened
Wow.
with the Tech 9 later too. It was just so nuts.
Damn.
Not almost,
Um.
it was an AK. Okay, yeah, that gun was nuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love all the eras that CS:GO has had, though. But
So, obviously, like kind of on the topic of FPS games, um, what are some of the questions that you have about Valorant casting, or like what are some of the things that uh you're curious about, and maybe I might be able to answer some questions as to like what is it that you want to know.
well, particularly I've had an interest in casting, and I was wondering like at what point did you start feeling confident enough to like upload your stuff to like channels? Did you just go for it right away, or did you like practice in private? So like something like the Phoenix clip, for example. Did you get that in like one shot, or did you have to record that like multiple times before you decided to upload it?
So the advice that was given to me by my best friend and current mentor, he said that like yeah, like you should get some games where you commentate by yourself just to like get just to like try it out. But the most ideal is that you commentate with like another friend, like you commentate with somebody else, so that you can get some of that experience.
Yeah.
At least like starting out. Like starting out, you want to at least try things out. And currently in the at least in the esports commentary space, there are two schools of thought when it comes to commentary. The first school of thought is very rigid. It's the play by play and the color. And League is kind of very guilty of this, where you have a play by play who commentates the action, and then when there's no action, there's a color analyst breaking down what are some of the most pivotal, important topics for the game, right? If a team's behind, why are they behind, right? With League, it's very easy to follow that school of thought, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of downtime, and it allows for the color to have a lot of time to break things down, right? However, the other school of thought is it's more of a conversation between two friends. The first two commentators that really push the school of thought, and every commentator that's like amazing right now, they say that the people that they look up to are two StarCraft casters called Tasteless and Artosis.
Okay.
And those two casters, the reason why people look up to them is because they just during the StarCraft casts, they would just have fun. They would just talk. They would just like crack jokes, relax, obviously keep it professional, talk about the game. But they would just crack jokes. A lot of people talk about Monte Cristo and Doa when they were commentating for the LCK. The reason why people love them is because they just were friends. They
Yeah.
just talked. They just cracked jokes. They had a good time, and they were fun to listen to. So there's two schools of thought. You either be incredibly serious, or you try to have some fun with it, right? With Valorant, it's gonna be the latter. There's gonna be way too much action for a color to be like, hey, I'm gonna take some time to break down that, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be round 3 by the time you break down what you wanted to break down in round 1, right? So you have to be a little bit more fluid and a little bit more flexible. Now, in regards to Phoenix clip, I'm really glad that TikTok prepared me for it, because I was
Yeah. Your 6 second
when
TikToks.
with TikTok, like I'm given the clip, and sometimes it's multiple takes. It's multiple takes, because maybe I'm trying to get a specific joke, or I didn't like how that take went. With the Valorant clips, it's the same thing. If I have the opportunity to do a do-over, I'm gonna do a do-over. Especially if I want Riot to look at it, I'm gonna do a
Oh,
do-over.
like why not? It's like
Um,
yeah, it's post recorded, so
yeah, it's free. But some of the comments. So one of my students like was kind of inspired by like what I did, so did something very similar, because he also wants to be a commentator too. So he also commentated the clips too, and in one of his commentaries, he tagged a bunch of commentators, and they responded with like, "Oh, you shouldn't be practicing with pre-recorded clips." And it's like, I don't think that's the point. I think the point is just try to show what it would look like if it was an esport. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't think it has to be taken that seriously. But it was a couple takes. For the Phoenix clip, I was in a rush because I had to get to work because I was like, crap, this clip is out. I'm not going to work until this clip is finito. So it actually was like 2 or 3 takes. Like it was very, very fast.
Yeah, that's not a lot. It feels like you could have done that for hours and like gone through it.
Yeah.
That's cool, and like especially with a 6-second clip, I was very impressed with your ability to take such a short clip and but still like bring out your personality with it, right? Because like I don't know, sometimes it feels like it might take a little bit longer, but it's like, hey, here's 6 seconds of me just commentating this, and like it was really clean, and then it was like that's it, you know, and it makes at least people like wanting more too. It's really interesting.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I mean, it's a little unfair because I've had 4 years of league commentary. Like I've had years to develop my style. It's not like this is my first time commentating. Um, but some people, especially in like the slasher comment thread, are like, "Oh, is this like your first time? Like what? You know, what are you doing?" Or like, "Wow, this is decent." You know what I mean? But it's like it's a little unfair because the people don't know that I've been working at it for 4 years to develop
Yeah,
to develop it, right?
yeah. Well, and like it's just the whole mentality that nobody really starts from like nowhere, even if it like seems like it. You have a lot of background in it, and you've been doing it for a while. So, um, I did write down like how do the people deal with like the downtimes in games. So you said like there's the color commentators. I'm assuming that plays into it a little bit, but like is it really stressful when there's like a big downtime or if there's like a problem in a tournament? How do you necessarily like deal with that?
Uh, I think it goes back to that second school of thought it's supposed to be a little bit more fluid. You really want to like the person that you're commentating with, and it's gonna allow for the downtimes to be easier
Yeah,
because you're gonna just crack jokes, have fun, have a blast. Like it's not gonna be that big of a deal. You know what I mean? Um, Specifically for how I deal with downtimes, you want to constantly repeat to the audience that things are okay or they're trying to figure it out and try to give them updates, but you want to have as much fun with the other commentator as much as possible and just kind of keep it trill, keep it okay,
yeah,
and keep the audience engaged and keep them having fun, right? And a lot of that will come from having a commentator that you like gel really really well with.
yeah. I had I actually commentated a CS:GO tournament one time. The only commentary I've ever done. And I went like balls deep with it because one of my friends was like, "Hey, we need a commentator for this tournament," and I was like, yeah, I'll do it if I can bring my buddy on." And they're like, "Yeah, sure, just get in here." My buddy had never played Counter-Strike at all in his life, and
Yeah.
we come onto this stream, and it was like 50 viewers, and the teams, because it was like kind of an amateur tournament, the teams were
Yeah.
accusing the other team of cheating, and they
Whoa.
had to pause the game for like 30 minutes, and we're just like sitting there like, how do we cover this up?
Yeah.
So economy, you know, using buzzwords and
Yeah.
stuff because like that's all he knew about
Yeah.
the game. It was actually really funny, but it was also very awkward, like uncomfortable. I have a lot of respect for people who can go into that and like keep it entertaining. Even though when there's like very clearly a problem with the game, it's like okay, well these guys are arguing over the other team cheating. But
Yeah.
that's
And a lot of it goes back to that, like just like you and your friends should have just cracked jokes. You know
yeah,
what I
that's
mean?
pretty much what we did because we were close buddies, so we made it through okay. But it was funny. Um, how do people generally
There,
specialize in what they what like they choose? So you said there's like the color commentator, and then there's like the analyst.
yeah, it's more so obviously like what somebody appreciates.
Yeah,
For me, I'm I'd probably consider myself pretty decently extroverted, not as much anymore, but I like making people laugh and I like cracking jokes. And you can't crack jokes without opening your mouth, right? So you have
yeah,
to say something to crack a joke. So and that has really transferred into my commentary. Obviously, with the Valorant clips, I made them a little bit more professional. But if you go to my TikTok, they're wild. They're just completely random. Like they're TikTok is kind of like where I let my commentary just go crazy. Like there's like this one GTA clip that I commentated. I made like an Epstein joke. Like went crazy on my TikTok and just commentated like the most random things. But really just take and how you want to approach um commentary as a whole. Some people just really like data and people just really like analysis or they really like the story building aspect of players. And don't get me wrong, I still like that. I still like building stories, but I really like just the energy and the adrenaline that rushes through your veins when you're watching a sick play, but you're also commentating it. Like
Yeah.
it's just, but really with Valorant, it's gonna be two casters that are both play by play. So really, there's not gonna be a what do you like or what do you not like. It's gonna be more so just two dudes, or two dudes, two girls, guy, girl, whatever. It doesn't matter. But it's gonna be two people, just gelling and commentating a game, like just chilling out. It's gonna be the same vibe that CS:GO has right now, where yeah, some rounds are slow, some rounds are fast, but whoever has the mic, and if something fast happens or something action happens, then that person's just gonna commentate it, right? Like they're just gonna take the show.
Yeah. Oh. Well, where can I find your TikTok at?
I have the same across every platform. I'm really happy I got that. Simo was taken is my TikTok. And you're gonna go there. You might think, wow, this guy's 20K followers on TikTok isn't really an insane amount. It's a lot, yes. Like if you're like, whoa, what the hell? I would ask for 20K on any platform, yes. But like 20K TikTok followers in the actual TikTok space isn't a lot. You're actually just more so judged on TikTok by the virality of your TikToks in general. One of my TikToks went viral, and then that's how I got 20K. But
Yeah.
I've been taking kind of like a few weeks break because I wanted to take a break from it for a bit, and then I'm gonna hop back into it. But there's a lot of just random commentary you'll find there. Like the last thing I posted was probably like I commentated like a Gang Beasts clip. Like it's really random.
I saw the
It's
Sims
so
one.
random.
So you just do anything? Like people will just send you clips and you commentate?
People have submitted stuff. But sometimes so what I did was I set out like weeks of what games I wanted to do. And sometimes people will submit stuff, and sometimes I'll just dedicate like a week of what I want to do. So for example, I did a month of GTA because my most viral TikTok was a GTA clip, and you could see that I just did a bunch of GTA stuff.
Yeah.
I tried Sims because I was like, oh well, Sims is kind of like GTA, so let's see if I can make a viral TikTok. It's really just me, trying to figure out what's gonna make me go viral again or whatever. But it's just an experiment. Like I didn't go into TikTok thinking, oh, I want fame and fortune.
Yeah.
I just went into thinking it like this is a platform that no commentator is using, and I feel like I could just make a big impact, and I did. And I think I will likely continue to do so because it's an insane app where you could just post something and it'll just explode.
No,
And you
especially
can see that
with
with some of them. It's like one like I don't know what I can kind of see on your stream, but one's like 70K views.
yeah,
Like,
75K.
that's a lot. The views are real, but the followers aren't really. Like the conversion rate for what your followers do isn't as high as other platforms.
Yeah. I have a friend who's been doing like cosplays and stuff on TikTok, and she actually she blew up real fast. Her second TikTok that she posted got 1 million views. And it's like
it's insane. It's insane.
the fact that it's such a young platform that can do like you can do really well on as a new creator. I think that everyone should try TikTok. Honestly, like don't jump on the bandwagon of hate and just be like this is dumb. I like the way that you said it. It's just a way to get views. That's all it is. It's like go try it out. Go figure out what you can do to get more views on the platform. It's really a good exercise. Honestly, like I've done some TikToks, but they're all like karaoke related things.
Yeah. So somebody in your chat asked if they send a clip, will I commentate it? I prefer shorter clips. But yeah, totally. Like if people send me clips, I just commentate it. Like I haven't looked at my log. I have this like Google form that I ask people to fill out. I haven't done it in a while, but yeah, people submit clips and I just commentate it, and then from there, people are like, "Oh wow, like my clip got commentated. Wow, that's cool,"
Yeah.
Um,
People love being noticed in that regard. Like if people publish stuff and you just like talk about it, that's why you like people say reply to every single comment. There's no reason not to, especially when you're small. Like
yeah, I actually respond to haters too, but I do so in like a funny way.
yeah,
Like there's been some like I remember that there's like this one hate thing that like stands out to me. I guess it wasn't really that big of a deal, but it was like somebody was pretty much saying oh like wow this sucks, and I was like yeah, but who asked? Like I actually don't care to get really grimy with the haters. Like I just have fun with it because like at the end of the day like it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't really like I don't care either way. So if I clap back, I'll show them that I got heat.
You ever notice too, like some of the haters are super angsty, and like when you do clap back, they're like, "Oh, dude, like I'm sorry, I was just like, I actually really like your stuff. I just didn't realize, or I was confused." Like,
Yeah, there was actually I posted it. I posted the Valorant clip on Reddit, and like there was like somebody was hating, and I responded. I was like, yeah, but like it's just lighthearted and fun. Like, why are you hating? And it like got more upvotes than the guy that was hating. And it's just like, and then he responded with like, oh dude, like my bad man, like your shit's dope. And I'm like, okay, but like, what was the point of the first? Like,
Yeah,
why did you
what
start?
happened?
Yeah, like, yeah, why
Uh,
did you start with the first thing? Like, you should have just started with the first, like the second thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's dumb. It's just dumb.
my mentality on League. So I got most of my like I would say my self esteem honestly from playing League of Legends, because you play the game so long, you get flamed by everybody. It's like, dude, nobody matters. Like,
Yeah.
but whenever people are like really mean to me on a game or just like on YouTube, I always like apologize, like as if I'm taking them seriously, like as if they're actually upset. I'm like, sorry, dude, like I'm just making these videos to like try to make people happy, and like I'm sorry that like you didn't like it. And it's like it's really hard to keep going at somebody when they're like genuinely like, I'm sorry, man, like I really didn't mean to. Like if I come in and I
Yeah.
start arguing with them back, then they're like, oh yeah, we're on. But like if I come in and I'm like, I'm sorry, man, they're like, oh no, it's cool. Like I actually really like your videos. Like,
Yeah.
but
Um, I do know that like, okay, let's hypothetically say one of us blows up, right? Like there are odds that it could go in our favor. We're both grinding it out, like
yeah,
let's say Valorant or whatever. Let's say we blow up, right? One of us blows up. There's obviously a lot of celebrities in who have had insane amounts of depression just due to the hate that they might have gotten from like a specific song, or like there's always going to be haters. And as much as people may hate Logan Paul, I think he handles haters like the best.
oh yeah,
Like he encourages them, because the more people that hate him, the more people that are watching. I know that it's easy to say like in the position that we're in right now, like, oh yeah, haters don't phase us. But like I think like the way that you have to take it is just like it's just a keyboard warrior, you know what I mean? Like they're not actually like whether they're gonna, whether they mean it or not, like if you just play it off and you kind of accept it, like you try to not accept it, but you try to play it off and try to crack jokes with it, uh, the hate will just wash over you, you know.
yeah. So did you get a couple negative comments? I'm assuming you did on your commentary. Um,
Not really that much. It was actually primarily positive, but I
yeah,
do imagine that people like it was actually some of the hate was coming from Reddit, and I was like really confused. It was like Twitter's like loving this, and Reddit, like some of the people on Reddit were like not loving this, and I was like, what's the difference? Like why is
that
there
is really
such a
interesting.
difference? My question wasn't like why are people hating? My question wasn't, I wasn't like, oh no, my feelings are hurt. My question was, what's the difference? Like what was the difference between like Twitter and Reddit, like
Yeah.
why was there such a difference?
Well, and you said you were in business and marketing too, so I think that's like that sort of perspective where you just got to look at these things and you're like, why is it different than from here to there? I wonder if it's like a Reddit community thing where it just seems like people on Reddit, since like maybe it's more apparent other people's views, so one person hates on and then people just bandwagon on. Or like on Twitter, you don't always see the replies until you click on the tweet, maybe.
I think just had a random thought that popped into my head. I think Noted is handling this really really well as well. Like he's
Yeah,
playing up the hate incredibly well. And that's really what you have to do. Like in order to keep that trajectory, you actually have to feed the haters more.
yeah,
You can't think that they've ever had enough. There's one instance. There's so um some of the latest. So there's a TikToker, or like a group of TikTokers. There's one particular TikToker that has handled something really really incredibly well. So it blew up on Twitter and on TikTok. A lot of people were like memeing it or making fun of it. But essentially, this guy's like little mini sex tape got like released, right?
yeah,
Um, and so the way that he responded was, first he went dark for like 48 hours. No TikToks, no Twitters, nothing. His first TikTok back is he was wearing joggers and he was dancing, and the joggers right over his crotch area said, "Stop looking at my dick." And I was just like, that is like the most, like, I get it. It's like trolly, it's memey, it's whatever. I'm like, that is a good response. Like you're
yeah,
laughing at yourself, you're making fun of yourself. I can respect that. I can
yeah.
respect that. A fucking sex tape, that's disgusting. However, your response back, I respect it.
Well,
respect it.
you've seen it in school too, right? Where like you have the kid and he's getting like made fun of for something, and the response could either be to like get upset about it and like ask him to stop, or when you make fun of yourself, it goes away. Like it depends on how you handle the situation. So it's like it's the whole mentality that you can't be canceled unless you like cancel yourself. Like yeah,
True.
if you take it as it is and you get like you're actually upset about it and you voice that you're upset, then people are gonna. That's what happened with T Martin with the whole CS:GO like lotto thing. You remember T Martin and Syndicate? They had like that big scandal and like it was like actual legal trouble. And
Yeah.
Syndicate did not say a word. And T Martin made like 2 or 3 apology videos. And like T Martin like doesn't really exist as much anymore. And Syndicate's like still kicking. Like he still exists. Like
Yeah.
such situations like that. It's like you like play into it or ignore it. It's how you respond to it basically. I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. Like and I definitely don't doubt that we'll likely run into some hate here or there, right? Like it's gonna happen. But let's just see how we deal with it. You know, I might just I think like a funny way that I might deal with it is I might actually like commentate them. Like I'm gonna film a skit where they're like typing it out, and I'm gonna commentate that skit, and then I'm gonna reply to that.
That would
piece
be
of
so
hate.
great. Oh my god.
Like I bet there's probably like so many creative ways. Like for you, like I'm not singling out like specifically like infographics, but you can make like an
Yeah.
infographic like percentage of anger as they see your tweet on their timeline or something like that, and it just like progressively scales up.
What I did particularly with videos, when people started making fun of me for my videos, they're like, "You're uploading too much, or you need to stop talking about the game that's not out." I just started making more. I've been doing like 2 videos a day for like the last couple of weeks while I'm doing my character breakdowns and stuff. And it's like I don't know if it's the best marketing strategy, but like I don't know, I'm definitely pissing off the haters if they were upset with my me to begin with. But
yeah, and also like I don't know if you know who Gary Vee is, but
I love Gary Vee. Yeah.
like the more content you push, the more like if it's out there, it's out there. You know what I mean? Like the first step is doing it, and you're just doing it. So like there's nothing that you can really be upset about.
Yeah.
Once you have 200 videos and you're not getting anything, that's when you think, okay, like well, how can I improve, right? But you're not at. Well, I don't know if you're at 200 videos, but like the point being is that like you just have to strategize, you know, ahead, right?
Yeah. Ivo wonders if you think that CS:GO casters will transfer over to Valorant.
It's an interesting question. I think that okay, so I actually had like a conspiracy theory. I went big brain on this. I feel like and this I could be completely off. One of Riot's motivations for releasing an FPS is to get some of the best FPS casters over to their game. So they probably love people like Semler, Moses, Anders. I don't really know a lot of the CS:GO casters.
Yeah, I wish I knew. There's Henry G. I know he casts. Like,
Launders, tons of different CS:GO casters. I deep down, part of me is like, I wonder if like even like 1% of their motivation was to release an FPS to capitalize on some of these amazing casters that they normally wouldn't have access to, right?
Yeah.
When are you going to get a CSGO caster casting league? The answer is never. You're never going to get that jump over. But this does create a window for people to hop over, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are casters that have left league because they hate kind of like how the casters are treated, Monte Cristo being one of them. He's like incredibly vocal. But I think the answer is very obviously yes. Like CS:GO casters are obviously going to transfer over.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be like a couple. Yeah.
Yeah, there's gonna be a couple. It's gonna happen no matter what. And I'm almost certain that Riot is already probably in talks with them or wants them to come out to their, you know, or probably invited some of the CS:GO commentators to their event thing. Because like there's something I saw on Twitter, like some dude who had like a Valorant invite, and he's like the most random person that I don't even think deserved an invite. He's on you know who KSI LGB whatever the hell the guy's name is?
I know what KSI is. Yeah, is that the same
Yeah,
guy?
KSI.
Yeah.
So he's got a group of friends called the Sidemen. One of those guys got an invite to Valorant. Like, who are you? Like, the esports community doesn't, like, you know, the content community doesn't really know who you are. So it's like, so the most random people got invites. So it's almost obvious that a CS:GO caster 1, 2, 3, 5 definitely got invites to play out. So Riot's definitely keeping them on their radar for sure.
Well, that's like Henry G's a CS:GO commentator. Apparently, he was part of like the first ever CS:GO playtest, and he playtested the game, and like he said that it was like really good. He's like really excited to talk about it more. So it's just like, yeah, there's gonna be people coming over. Everybody's kind of looking for the opportunity. Like me, you and I are not the only people who have like our eyes on this game. There's people way larger than us who are looking at this, looking like they want to be professional casters, wanting to make content for the game and stuff. So. It'll be really interesting to see who all comes over once the game actually like gets released or like into like beta and everything, and who becomes the big names.
Yeah. Somebody in your chat's asking about like the first big tournament. I think with TFT, like the first big tournament wasn't until like months after the release of the game. And that might be due to like kinks that they had to iron out or whatever. I don't really know, but I think it might be quite some time before the first tournament comes out. And you also have to consider, like, think about it from the perspective of it of the inception of an esport. Like, we're going to witness how a top tier organization, a top tier developer, is going to turn an esport. It's going to skip the grassroots stage, which, by the way, the FGC is still stuck in. It's going to skip
FGC? Sorry?
The fighting game community.
Okay, yeah.
It's going to skip the grassroots stage. It's going to skip amateur lands, and it's going to go straight to an esports event with like a prize pool. They're not going to do franchising. They're not going to make teams buy in. They're probably going to do one type of tournament, but it's going to leapfrog over a specific stage of the esports growth, like CS, Counter-Strike Source. The reason why it is where it is today is because of like 1,000-person lands in Sweden of people playing Source, or 1.6, and there's like a huge community behind it. Riot's gonna skip that stage, and I actually think that we've never been able to witness that type of development from ground up ever in the esports space ever. We've never been able to witness it.
Well, it's so cool to see a company like them too, where they have the foundation for it with League. It exists, and if they want to push something like this, they can. Like they can push it hard. Yeah, I'm super hyped for it. I don't have any more casting questions for you. That's all I got.
Cool. Yeah. No. Thanks for having me come on. I think it was we obviously didn't really talk a lot about casting. We kind of hopped all over the place, but it was still.
Like, I'm still hyped for the game. That's kind of like all I wanted to talk about on this channel too. Just like bring people on who are like interesting, who are looking forward to the game, and just talk about the game with them. Because like clearly you're hyped for it too. Like you've been commentating over it and everything. Where can people find you if they're looking for you?
Very, very fortunate. And I recommend anyone who's getting into content creation to try to snag the same on every single platform. It just makes things a lot easier for you. And for me, it's Simo was taken. Simo was taken, and the reason why that's my @ is because, well, obviously Simo was taken, like the @ Simo was taken. So very, very easy. But YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, everywhere, YouTube, everywhere. It's everywhere. Really easy to find me. So, yeah.
Thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, man, and take care, buddy.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to your commentary. If you ever want to play League 2, you should hit me up. I'd be down to do it with you.
We'll do it. We'll do it up. We'll do it up.
Let's see, man.